Have you ever experienced that you really have to do something, but then you feel like, well, I can do it tomorrow. Tomorrow rolls around and something comes up that seems more fun and more entertaining than the thing that you were supposed to be doing. Suddenly you're faced with an enormous deadline and you don't have enough time to do a good job. If you have felt that, you have experienced procrastination. You procrastinated the thing until you absolutely had to do something about it, otherwise bad things would have happened. Or maybe even the bad things happened anyway. The definition of procrastination is the action of delaying or postponing something. Saoirse Siroy, who is a psychology professor at the University of Sheffield, explains procrastination as the voluntary unnecessary delay of an important task, despite knowing you will be worse off for doing so. So procrastination is not waiting for someone to call you or waiting for someone else to get back to you. It's knowing that you have to do something but putting it off until the last minute, knowing that you have to face bad consequences for doing so. But if we know that we're worse off by not doing the thing, why do we procrastinate? Especially since procrastination could lead to significantly larger problems like getting worse grades in school or not getting that promotion that you want. And on top of that, it can lead to health problems like anxiety or stress. The short answer to the question, why do we procrastinate, is that we humans rely a lot on self-control and motivation in order to do things. The self-control or willpower is what makes us able to push through doing something even though we might not feel like doing it. And motivation can make it seem a little bit more fun doing the thing because we're inspired in getting some kind of reward from doing it. But the thing is, it's not only self-control and motivation that comes into play when we're going to do something. We also experience hindrances that makes it harder for us to do the thing. Hindrances could be really anything, but some more specific reasons could be feeling overwhelmed and feeling anxious about the task. Maybe it seems really hard and you don't feel like doing it. It could be because of perfectionism and or fear of failure. Perfectionists are hardcore procrastinators because deep down they know that they won't be able to do the task perfectly, and therefore they experience low self-esteem and fear of failure, and therefore procrastinate until they don't have enough time to do the thing perfectly, and then maybe they can motivate in their head that, oh, I didn't have enough time to do it perfectly. No, I'm absolutely not talking from experience here. You could also experience hindrances, for example, having ADHD or some kind of illness like depression that makes it a lot harder for you to do the task. It could also be that the rewards for doing that task is too far off in the future, so it's just too abstract for you and you don't really know the reason for doing it all. It could be because of a general lack of motivation and lack of energy, or it could simply be that you're a person who feels that you work better under pressure and then you just procrastinate until you have to do the thing. So in short terms, when our willpower and motivation is outweighed by the hindrances that we experience, we procrastinate. Think about it, we don't procrastinate fun things, we procrastinate things that are hard, boring, unpleasant, stressful, and we just avoid it until we have to do something about it. And now that we understand why do we procrastinate, well then how do we stop procrastinating? The easy answer is that you have to find out why you are procrastinating and do something about that. Find out what hindrances you are experiencing so that you can remove them or make them a bit more easier so that it makes it easier for you to do the thing. If you completely lack energy, well, then maybe the problem is not with the task itself, maybe you just need to sleep more. Or if you are a perfectionist, maybe that is the end that you should be starting in instead of just always pushing yourself to doing the things. Find out why you are procrastinating and do an action plan about it. However, with that said, here are 5 more simple things that you can try to get you started. The first thing you can do is to practice self-compassion, and this is closely related to perfectionism and fear of failure, and also about having low self-esteem. You have to disconnect your self-worth from the things that you are doing. Even if you don't do the task perfectly, or even if you risk that task is a failure, you have self-worth despite of that. There are really good mindfulness practices that you can do to practice self-compassion, and it's just being kind and gentle with yourself and everything that you do in everyday situations. The voice in your head should be more like when you're talking to a friend and not bringing you down all the time. Also, a thing that I heard in a podcast recently is that if you're experiencing fear of failure and that is keeping you from doing things, you can establish the mindset of that you haven't learned yet. You suck at something at work, well, you haven't learned that yet, so how are you supposed to do it good? Bad at a presentation? Well, you haven't learned yet, so you're always trying to improve. That way, you haven't failed, you just haven't learned yet. You can also try finding your why, especially if there's something that's far off in the future, like a big goal or something that you have to work on for a long time to achieve it. You have to be really clear about what your why is for doing that thing. Why do you want to complete it, and what will that lead to in the long term? You can go as far as actually writing it down. That way it gets crystal clear for why you want to do the thing, and it will help you prioritize it and reduce the hindrance that you experience about doing the thing. You can also start small. A lot of us take on too big of a task from the beginning, but if you divide it up into smaller pieces and start with a small part, that will help you do the thing easier and it will reduce the hindrance that you experience. So just take the task, chop it up into pieces and start with the first one. The next thing you can do, it really depends on the person. Either you eat the frog, that is, you do the big hardest thing first and work on to the more easier things. That way you've done the most important thing first and you can feel relieved that that is done. Or if you're more like me, you can work your way up to the task. I have a really hard time going from doing nothing and doing a big thing. So it's so much easier to go from doing nothing to doing a small task to doing a middle large task until doing a larger task. I think that is really closely related to all of you who start cleaning instead of doing things. You just have to do something that gets you started. Although the cleaning can't take over. That's just hardcore procrastination. The fifth thing that you can do is to reduce distractions. Turn off the TV, hide the remote, hide your phone so that you have to focus on the thing that you're supposed to be doing instead, and so that you can work uninterrupted and actually get the thing done, because that's also super unmotivating when you have started with a thing 15 times already and can't finish it because something else always comes up. Comment down below if you would like me to dive deeper into these topics. I would love to make a video which is more kind of like a step-by-step guide on how to stop procrastinating. Like this video and subscribe to my channel if you want to see more content from me. Have an awesome week and I'll see you in the next video.